Welcome to Engaging with the ALS Association. With us today is David Kelly from New Hampshire and David Doan from Maine, both of which have been very involved in the workings of national and chapter activities. Please welcome our panel, and I pass it over to you, David and David.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, David and David Kelly and David Doan for being part of our symposium today. And I'd like to start with David Kelly to ask kind of how you've engaged with the ALS Association. I know both of you have engaged in a variety of different ways. So, David, I know that you have engaged on a national level.
Yeah, thank you, Amber. And I'm joining you today from Hill, New Hampshire, a small community beside the Pemigewasset River between Bristol and Franklin. I've been happily married to my angel of wife, Pamela, for 40 years, and I have two adult daughters, Michelle and Melissa. I'm a retired science teacher. After 34 years of teaching at Pembroke Academy, a public school in Pembroke, New Hampshire, I had a gorilla called ALS crawl onto my back after I retired. This has dramatically changed my life. Before ALS, I was very active in my community, my school, and with life. I had activities like hiking, mountain biking, kayaking, snowshoeing, and camping. My limb onset sporadic ALS currently has me confined to a power chair, and I'm not able to use my arms or hands, and I'm having trouble with my speech and swallowing. Living successfully with ALS requires a wonderful caregiver, which I have in my wife, and a mindset to stay positive. One way I do this is by staying active in the ALS Association. Since my diagnosis with ALS, the association has helped me and my family a great deal. We have also tried to give back as much as we can to the association. We have done this in a number of ways. On the national level, this past summer, I was recognized in the National ALS Association blog in the Whatever It Takes section for my speech to this year's Pembroke Academy graduates titled, How Should I Live My Life? It is so cool to see my words published on the national website. If anyone's interested in this, I put a link to it in the chat section. On the local level, I've served as an advocate for the ALS Association Advocacy Day for the past 2 years. This involves participating in the advocacy conference and meeting with the offices of our federal senators and representatives to discuss the request for legislation of our national association and help our government officials understand what living with ALS is like. I also served on the Northern New England ALS Association Symposium Committee for the past 2 years. During this participation, I met a number of wonderful people. In addition to myself, my family has been involved with the ALS Association. My wife is actively involved with a number of caregiver groups. My two daughters are actively involved with fundraising and help with making suggestions to the association's Facebook page. This past summer, they held virtual trivia nights and bingo nights. This month, they held a tribute walk during the ALS walk. One of the great things about the Northern New England ALS Association is the ability to share things. In that light, for any limb onset patients out there that have a cell phone and Wi-Fi in your home, if you've not looked into digital personal assistant, you should do this sooner than later. The problem my wife and I were trying to solve is I sleep downstairs in my lift chair and she sleeps upstairs in our bedroom. As my voice became weaker, it became more and more difficult for me to get her attention when I needed assistance at night. We purchased 2 Echo Dots from Kohl's, and this allowed us to set up a voice-activated intercom system between the 2 rooms. It also allowed me to have voice access to my cell phone so my wife could take the home phone outside when she's doing chores, and I have a method of contacting her. Just recently, we purchased an electric blanket that is Wi-Fi enabled, and now I can wake up Alexa instead of my wife during the night to adjust the temperature. Our next project is to install a Wi-Fi light bulb in the living room so I have voice control of it. Also, during my daughter's trivia night, even though I was not competing, I did score 100% with Alexa as my trivia partner. I know we're only scratching the surface of what's possible, but here's an example of how sharing things with the association can help everyone else. To end, I just want to say life is an adventure. My wife and I certainly did not plan this adventure for our retirement, but I want to leave you with this thought. With the right mindset, you can still turn your adventure into wonderful memories and maybe make life just a little better for the people around you. With that, I'd like to turn it back over to Amber and our next speaker.
Thank you so much, David. And thank you for all your involvement in the activities of the chapter and the National Association. Now, David Doan, you too have been involved both nationally and locally. Can you talk about your engagement at the national level?
Sure. At the national level, I'm involved in the PACAC committee, the Patient and Caregivers Advisor Committee, and our focus there is on the focus surveys that the ALS Association distributes to patients and caregivers, looking for feedback and direction. Unfortunately, I haven't probably spent as much time there as I would like to, but that'll be my goal for this year, is to spend more time with that activity. I also participate in a program, a committee called the PACT program, Patients and Caregivers Together. And that's a group of patients, as well as some board members and others, who look and assist with direction of the association, and make to recommend and changes, and to evaluate other projects that the association should be involved in. It's been very rewarding to work with some of those people, and they're some of the brightest people I've ever met in my life. You know, on the local level, I too work um, uh, on the walks. I was the walk lead for the last 2 years, and what that involves is recruiting teams to participate in the walk, to educate them on fundraising techniques and how to grow their team, and how to advertise and promote the walk. Advocacy is the greatest thing we have going in our favor, and the more people we get involved in that walk, the greater our advocacy can be. We also spend time working with local store owners, trying to get them to donate things to the walk for prizes and raffles as such. I also participate in the monthly peer meetings, which I find very valuable. It's allowed me to expand my network, which allows me to expand my advocacy role across the country. My network is no longer now just in this little area where I live in Maine, but it covers coast to coast, border to border. So I find that extremely rewarding. The other thing has been the advocacy side locally, and I want to thank the the patients of ALS patients of Maine for their advocacy. We are one of 2 states in the country where both of our senators, as well as our congressmen, are co-sponsors of the Act for ALS and participate in their caucuses. So it's for that reason I continue to do my advocacy work as well on the government level.
Okay, and I know that you're both involved very much with other people with ALS that you have met along the way on expanding your network of families living with ALS. David Kelly, if you could tell people who wanted to get involved with the ALS Association, what would you tell them?
Certainly contact your care service person, because that's your main contact, and just look at the all the opportunities that are available on the website, because there's so much stuff you can get involved with that will enrich your life.
Okay, and David, do you have a final thought about engaging with the ALS Association?
I think the more you get involved, the more you find the resources that are available through the association. It's more than just the monthly peer meetings. There's a lot more behind the association than that. And I think as you get involved at the peer level, that you will find other opportunities present that you will enjoy, and you could help out other patients with ALS.
Okay. Thank you both, both for being on our symposium today and for all of the things that you do for the association, for other families. I would like to add that in addition to the activities that David Kelly and David Doan have been involved in, there are other ways if you're looking to volunteer. And I think one of the easiest ways is really to share your story and put that out there. And, like David said, please contact your care service coordinator if you have a story you'd like to share, or if you have some ideas about how to use your time and talents to engage with the ALS Association, because we really can't do this without volunteers like David and David. So thank you both very much.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Okay, we're going to end the session, and in a few moments, you will be, be able to move on to the next session, which is a chapter presentation. So just learning a little bit more about how the chapter works and functions to serve the families living with ALS. Thank you.